Imagine walking through an American county fair more than 100 years ago. The smell of popcorn filled the air. Music echoed from every corner. Families wandered between games, food stalls, and colorful attractions. But among all the excitement, one sound stood above the rest: the thunder of a motorcycle engine. People rushed toward a massive wooden structure unlike anything they had ever seen. It had no windows, no seats, and no stage. From the outside, it looked like nothing more than a giant wooden barrel. But inside, history was being made. As the engine roared to life, the rider accelerated faster and faster around the wooden floor. Within seconds, the impossible happened. The motorcycle climbed onto the vertical wall, then higher and higher, until both rider and machine were racing sideways, only a few feet below the amazed spectators. No ropes, no safety harness, no modern technology, only courage, skill, and complete trust in the motorcycle beneath him. For generations, this breathtaking spectacle became one of the greatest attractions at American fairs and traveling carnivals. It amazed millions, inspired countless riders, and became a symbol of fearless motorcycle entertainment. But where did the Wall of Death come from? Who built the first one? And how could a motorcycle ride across a vertical wall without falling? At the beginning of the 20th century, America was fascinated by speed. The automobile was transforming transportation, airplanes were beginning to capture the world's imagination, and motorcycles had become symbols of freedom, adventure, and innovation. As more people discovered the excitement of riding, motorcycle races attracted larger crowds every year. But for many spectators, watching riders race around a track wasn't enough. They wanted something even more thrilling, something they had never seen before. Traveling carnivals quickly recognized this demand. These carnivals moved from town to town, bringing excitement to communities across the United States. Every season, they searched for bigger attractions, louder engines, and more spectacular performances to amaze their audiences. That search led to one of the most extraordinary ideas in the history of motorcycle entertainment. Instead of building another racetrack, engineers and showmen designed a massive wooden cylinder where motorcycles wouldn't race across the ground. They would race along the walls. To the people watching for the very first time, it looked impossible. As the motorcycle climbed higher onto the vertical wall, many believed the rider would fall at any moment. But every successful lap left the audience in complete disbelief. Soon, this incredible performance became known as the Wall of Death, a name that perfectly captured both its danger and its mystery. For decades, it became one of the most famous attractions at American fairs and carnivals, drawing huge crowds wherever it appeared. But what exactly was the Wall of Death? How was it built? And what made it possible for a motorcycle to ride across a vertical wall without falling? To answer those questions, we must step inside the arena itself. To someone seeing it for the first time, the Wall of Death hardly looked like a motorcycle arena. From the outside, it resembled a giant wooden barrel standing upright on the fairgrounds. It had no racetrack, no grandstands, and no finish line. Yet hidden inside this simple wooden structure was one of the most extraordinary motorcycle performances ever created. The Wall of Death is a large, hollow wooden cylinder, usually between 20 and 40 feet, about 6 to 12 meters in diameter. It is built from thousands of tightly fitted wooden planks, supported by a strong framework designed to withstand the tremendous forces created by speeding motorcycles. Around the top edge of the cylinder, a narrow viewing platform allows spectators to look directly down into the arena below. Unlike a traditional stadium, where fans watch from a distance, here the audience stands only a few feet above the riders. This close view is part of what made the attraction so unforgettable. Visitors could hear every roar of the engine, smell the fuel and burning rubber, and feel the vibration of the motorcycle through the wooden walls. It wasn't just something to watch, it was something to experience. Every performance began at the very bottom of the cylinder. The rider would start the engine and circle the flat wooden floor, slowly building speed with each lap. At first, nothing seemed unusual. But as the motorcycle accelerated, something remarkable happened. The rider gradually moved up the curved section connecting the floor to the wall. Within moments, both motorcycle and rider were traveling almost completely sideways along the vertical wooden surface. To the audience looking down from above, it appeared as though gravity had simply stopped working. Although the Wall of Death became especially popular during the 1910s and 1920s, its roots go back even earlier. Engineers and performers had experimented with circular wooden tracks for bicycles and motorcycles, searching for new ways to entertain growing crowds at fairs and exhibitions. Over time, these experiments evolved into the vertical cylinder design that would become one of the most recognizable attractions in American carnival history. As traveling carnivals crossed the country, the Wall of Death became their star attraction. Brightly painted signs promised audiences a performance unlike anything they had ever witnessed. Many visitors had never seen a motorcycle before entering the arena. Yet within minutes, they found themselves watching a machine race across a vertical wall only a few feet below them. For children, it felt like magic. For adults, it was almost impossible to believe. Even today, the Wall of Death continues to amaze audiences around the world. While motorcycles, helmets, and safety equipment have improved over the decades, the basic design of the arena has changed very little. The same wooden walls, the same circular track, and the same challenge that faced riders more than a century ago. But this raises an important question. How can a motorcycle ride across a completely vertical wall without falling? The answer lies not in magic, but in one of the most fascinating principles of physics. By the 1920s, the Wall of Death had become far more than just a motorcycle performance. It had become one of the greatest attractions at American fairs and traveling carnivals. But what made this simple wooden cylinder so famous? The answer begins with the time in which it was created. 100 years ago, America was very different from today. There was no television to bring live entertainment into people's homes. There was no internet, no smartphones, and no social media. When a traveling carnival arrived in town, it became the biggest event of the year. Families traveled from nearby farms, villages, and cities to spend a day enjoying games, food, music, and extraordinary performances. Among all the attractions, one stood above the rest: the Wall of Death. Long before visitors saw the performance, they heard it. The thunder of the motorcycle engine echoed across the fairgrounds, drawing curious crowds from every direction. People followed the sound until they reached a giant wooden cylinder surrounded by spectators. No one wanted to miss what was happening inside. As the rider climbed higher onto the wall, the audience leaned over the railing in complete silence. Every lap brought excitement. Every turn created suspense. Every second reminded the crowd that one small mistake could end the performance. That feeling of danger made the show unforgettable. Newspapers across America began reporting on these remarkable exhibitions. Carnival posters proudly advertised the Wall of Death as one of the most thrilling spectacles ever created. People who had seen the performance told friends and neighbors about the fearless riders who seemed to defy gravity. Word spread quickly, and wherever the carnival traveled, crowds were already waiting. Motorcycle manufacturers also recognized the attraction's value. When spectators watched riders race around a vertical wall without their machines failing, it demonstrated the strength, reliability, and engineering of those motorcycles. Although the performances were designed to entertain, they also became powerful advertisements for the growing motorcycle industry. The riders themselves became local celebrities. Many spent months traveling from state to state, performing several shows each day. Their names appeared on posters, newspapers, and carnival advertisements, inspiring young people who dreamed of one day becoming motorcycle daredevils. Even as technology changed and new forms of entertainment appeared, the Wall of Death never completely disappeared. Today, historic Wall of Death shows continue to perform at selected motorcycle festivals and classic fairs, preserving a tradition that has amazed audiences for more than a century. It remains a symbol of courage, precision, and the adventurous spirit that helped shape motorcycle stunt riding. The Wall of Death was never just about riding a motorcycle. It was about challenging fear, inspiring wonder, and proving that with enough skill and determination, the impossible could become reality.